Good morning. Today is Sunday, September 22nd, 2024. This is the weekly Bitcoin price forecast. So looking at where Bitcoin went in the last week and where it could potentially go in the future. So this is the end of September pretty much. This is the last calendar week of September that we're looking at. So I think it's going to close positive. So this is a rare positive September for Bitcoin. Usually it's a down month. I think last September was positive too. Yeah, very small positive month. It was up $1,000. This September it's up $3,000. So that's cool. That's definitely cool to see. It's good for the market overall, and I think we're very close to going to the upside. Just so many things have happened in the last maybe 2 weeks or so that would cause me to believe that we're pretty close to a breakout. A lot of things have been accumulating. So again, this is the monthly chart. Not really too much to talk about, really. It's just a continued upward move at this point, and we'll look at that a little bit more in containment with the bull flag. So again, we've really been ranging for the last 6 months. Really, for the last 6 months, we've been ranging. We hit a peak in early March, and then the bank term funding program ended. And I'll talk a little bit about that later. So there was a major loss of liquidity for the market, somewhere in the range of like a couple hundred billion or so. So pretty much we've just been ranging ever since. And let me turn the drawings on real quick. So we've been going up and down between these two levels, and this is really a bull flag, which in my mind means that we've come up here, we've shot up from this area, consolidated for quite some time, 6 months, and then that allows us to shoot up much higher, well past 100,000. So I don't think that'll be a problem at all. So we're coming up towards the top of this channel, so there will probably be some type of rejection here before it continues up, and then even after it continues up, you'll probably see a pullback. So something in the range of something like this. So you'll see here, pullback, and then maybe something like this. It'll shoot up past, pull back one more time, and then it'll just absolutely go off to the races. So that's cool. That's really what I'm expecting to see. And really, that's the worst case scenario, right? You may not even have as many pullbacks. You may just continue to go on to the upside, and you'll probably see a pullback with this all-time high too, and then continue 100,000. You'll probably see another pullback, and then we'll just kind of go from there. But I think that's it on the weekly chart. Not too much else to talk about there. I talked a little bit about the level that we have here. So it formed. This is on the daily chart now. So we've kind of danced around this area. This is, I would call this like the average pretty much. This is the area where it bounced off in several different areas. So it could be support or resistance depending on how you look at it. So we finally came down and broke through this early September, and then came above it, retested it, and then continued on to the upside. Again, you could see some type of pullback, but one thing I'm waiting on is for this white line, so this moving average that's been moving this way. I'm waiting for this to cross above the blue line here, which is your 100-day moving average. Once that happens, all three of these will be in line, moving to the upside. And I think on the lower time frames they probably are. We can look at that. But weekly obviously is up, purple, blue, white, and then month is going to be up, blue and white. You don't have a purple one just because it hasn't been 200 weeks yet. It has. This one just only goes back to like 2015, which is not quite 200 weeks yet. So 4-hour charts, purple, blue, white. So that's all good. Again, 200 moving average, 100 moving average, 50 moving average, purple, blue, white, 200, 150. That's good. That's an upward sign. This is a little bit down, but again, these lower time frames, you're not really super worried about that. And it's the weekend too. But overall, like you see your higher time frames, they are really all pushing it to the upside. So that's good to see. I put out a post on my Instagram story this week about the rate cuts and the different sources of liquidity that you have in the market. So this is a chart of Bitcoin, obviously, but it was pretty interesting to me because like if you chart out where the rate hike started, where the interest rates changed or where they didn't change, it starts to paint a pretty decent picture, right? So this was the actual top of the market. I mean, I'd have to do some further investigation as to exactly why that was the peak, but it peaked somewhere around late November, November of 2021, pretty much. Came down here and then it stalled out for a little bit. It looked like it might have been climbing again, but then they started raising rates very quickly. in 2022, March 2022. And so after that, money gets more expensive. The cost to borrow capital becomes more expensive, and then you end up, shooting down. And then Bitcoin hit your low for the cycle, which was November of 2022. And then it just from there continued to go up. It went, sideways from time to time, but it never actually went down after that. In March, you had the Silicon Valley Bank crash. So you had a huge crash in 2023, early 2023. After that, they stepped in and provided some liquidity to the market, a capital injection of about $150 billion. So then after that, things went up. And then they stopped hiking the rates. So the interest rates stopped going up. It's not that they went down, but they just, paused it at a level, right? They got to a cap and then they stayed there. So that stopped happening in July of 2023. And then you see immediately after, you had some little drop right here, and then it kind of went sideways, and then it just absolutely went off to the races. Now, some of this was Bitcoin ETF hype too, but that's just kind of what it is. And then you see we paused for quite some time. Like we had this 6-month period where we just draw down for all this. What you end up having is the Bank Term Funding Program, which again was that source of liquidity. It's again bank term, so it's only supposed to last for a term. It's only supposed to last for a year. And so this program came to an end. So another loss of liquidity for the market. And you see Bitcoin kind of went sideways at this point. So I've looked at several things, and one thing I do know for certain is Bitcoin is very sensitive to the market and economic data, the interest rates and all those major moves that the Federal Reserve makes. So it is definitely something that you have to pay attention to because it makes a difference. And then in September, so last Wednesday, they announced Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell announced that they will begin cutting rates. And so they took a 50 basis point cut, which is relatively aggressive coming out the gate. But they expect that trend to continue down over the course of the next year or so. So it'll be interesting. This is a time where there will be a little bit more liquidity in the market than there has been in the past previously. So I think that'll allow people to get into Bitcoin. Plus, you have several other things that have come out lately, like the ETF that came out in January, and then you have the options that have just come out for BlackRock, and we'll talk about that in a bit. But exciting times, very exciting times. It looks like we're very much so at the starting line to get ready for the rest of this bull market. So I think the next 6 to 9 months will be very exciting, and we'll just go from there. We'll have to see what it does, right? Okay, this was last week. Again, we talked a little bit about the news. Nothing really major happened last week besides the federal funds rate. And I say nothing major. This was huge. Like globally, this is a significant event. So you see this is the interest rates for really going back to 2013. It was zero for a very long time following 2008. Did a ramp up into 2019, then dropped it completely post-COVID back down to 0%. And then, this major ramp up in, I guess, what was that? Started in 2022. And finally, for the first time in years, since March of 2020, that was the last rate cut, the last actual rate cut. So March of 2020, over 4 years, we have cut rates once again. So money is starting to get cheaper. And I think that'll end up helping the labor market. That'll end up helping the equities market, the crypto market, and all that type of stuff. So definitely a good thing to see overall. I can only be optimistic, right? And we'll just see what ends up happening. But typically that is a good thing for the overall market historically, because again, the capital does get cheaper. Again, I still believe in Bitcoin and that type of monetary policy of scarcity. But again, if we're in this system, we got to play by the rules, right? And the rules are that interest rates rule everything. So capital availability and cost, two biggest things that you need to look at to kind of see where we're at in the market. So let's look at the next week. Was there anything there? Yeah, so this upcoming week, there's not really too much. The Bank of Japan held their interest rates last week, so nothing. Jerome Powell speaks on Thursday morning at 8 a.m. Central Time. And yeah, there's nothing major happening this week. So other thing that did happen this week, so SEC, I talked about options a little bit earlier. So the SEC approves options trading on BlackRock spot Bitcoin ETF. So what does that mean? So now people are able to trade options contracts via Wall Street. So there are options contracts for Bitcoin, but they were like kind of, DeFi. They were kind of off market pretty much. But this is now brought to Wall Street. This is a SEC licensed product, the SEC blessed product, I should say. They got what they needed. So basically, looking at it, the SEC on September 20th, so 2 days ago, they basically said that BlackRock can have their ETF. It approves the options. I don't know if that means it'll start trading on Monday or if that'll be at some later time. There may still be some paperwork in the works, but that is a good sign, right? At least for volatility, in the sense that now you have more leverage. You have more leverage in the market to be able to. I guess what do you have? You have options. You have traditional futures contracts, which are traded in Chicago. You have the perpetual futures contracts, which are traded on the blockchain with DeFi. You have spot Bitcoin. You have the Bitcoin ETF. You have wrap Bitcoin, which something that Coinbase is doing, and some other entities where basically they have to buy Bitcoin one-to-one to back their product. So there's just so many sources of buying at this point. You see nations and countries buying, companies buying. It's going to be a frenzy. I don't think people are prepared. I don't know if I'm prepared, but we're going to get there one way or another. I'm excited. I'm definitely excited for sure. I've been talking about this for about 75 weeks, not even about 75 weeks. This is week 75. I'm still excited as I was on day one. It's definitely been a long road to get to this point. Bitcoin winters can be brutal for sure. Crypto winters can be brutal, but we're about to enter into the exciting part of the market. That much I do know. Again, this has been Chris Talks Crypto. Check out a crypto-based resources on christalkscrypto.com. Join the Pulse on Crypto Discord. We're going to be revamping that soon. We got some good stuff coming for the people, right? But yeah, no, that's pretty much all I got. So I will see y'all on the moon. Take care. Bye-bye.